What a surprise! South Park just dropped a season 27 trailer that features some absolutely wild stuff. Diddy, plane crashes, another Canadian-American war, Starvin Marvin returning after 25 years, Moses? What is going on here? And this is an especially big deal because it's being marketed as season 27, not as a new special as we expected. And I think there's a big reason for this. There's tons to break down in both the new trailer and in what is implicitly happening behind the scenes, so let's dive into it. And hey, if you're excited about the new season of South Park, please check out some of my recent South Park videos. I'm particularly proud of the Big Chef character analysis I did in December, as well as my breakdowns of 200/201 and both the Black Friday and Meteor Shower trilogies. Thanks. Okay, let's just get right into the trailer, but there's lots to say about how and why South Park is getting its first summer season since 2012 as well, so we'll get to that later. The trailer starts sort of parodying modern dramatic television before hard pivoting to a Randy joke, so pretty standard stuff here.
Shelly, have you been taking ketamine? Because I think it could really help you.
Obviously, over the years, and particularly since the advent of Integrity Farms, Randy has gone all in on various drugs. The episode Christmas Snow comes to mind. I expect that the way this moment is framed, that it's likely about the modern popularization of things like ketamine therapy, but will likely be more about Randy taking advantage of this kind of procedure to feed a new addiction. That's pretty classic Randy stuff. The last moment of the trailer seems to support this idea as well.
It's okay, Sharon, I'm just gonna do some ketamine and around with the government a little.
We also see Shelly has a poster for Wicked in her room, probably just a background detail, but makes a lot of sense with the major success of the film. And they actually previously parodied the stage version of Wicked in Broadway Brodown. The next major aspect of this trailer is seemingly another major war with Canada, which, as we know, has already happened in the South Park universe back in the movie South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. It's since been referred to as the American-Canadian War, at least within the context of the show. We see shots of the boys walking through a fully burning South Park, a group of Canadians pulling down the Statue of Liberty with boats while cheering. There's also a shot of tons of Canadians charging on something with various weapons. This feels like it will be a clear result of a storyline regarding the tariffs recently placed on Canada. South Park obviously has a major history of Canadian storylines, something I want to make a more thorough video about after this new season, so look forward to that. And this feels like a pretty natural escalation of their Canadian tendencies. I wonder if this will actually be dubbed as a second American-Canadian War, and whether or not it will reference the ongoing issues the two countries have had within the South Park lore, or if it's just kind of referencing the fact that Trump wants Canada to be the 51st state right now. Also makes me wonder if we'll see Terrence and Phillip for the first time since season 21. We haven't seen them since they were updated to be these old models with their Netflix reboot back in Super Hard PC-ness, another major Canada episode. Actually, they probably should be referencing the events of Super Hard PC-ness considering Garrison nuked Toronto. Anyways, it would be fun to see Terrence and Phillip again. Probably also worth mentioning, the entire trailer ends with a pretty scary choir version of Blame Canada. This is actually Trey's daughter Betty doing the choir vocals.
Times have changed.
She's obviously recording some of the other lines here too, so I wonder if we'll get a fuller, longer version in the actual episodes. But I think hearkening back to the song that led to the previous war between America and Canada in South Park does probably speak pretty firmly to where this might be going. The season also seems to be tackling the seeming increase in plane crashes, particularly after the devastating mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. in January. There are numerous shots of mid-air plane collisions throughout this trailer, and then we later see Butters as an air traffic controller. Butters and a bunch of other children, might I add. And it seems like this will likely stem from the mass layoffs seen within the FAA and surrounding air traffic safety. I expect some kind of storyline where Butters and all of these other kids are hired as replacement air traffic controllers, leading to more collisions and disasters and less safety. Butters really can't catch a break, can he? I imagine if he hadn't taken this job, he may have been grounded. Okay, before we get to Diddy, which I know is what everyone wants to hear about most, there are a couple shots I can't quite place that are really interesting. One, Cartman seemingly live streaming an abortion. Honestly, not particularly shocking content given South Park's history with this subject matter. Woodland Critter Christmas and South Park Stick of Truth come to mind. Kyle is sick here and he's turning into a turkey, like a literal turkey. Is this a bird flu storyline? He is straight up turning into a turkey here. It's kind of scary. You can actually also see a bottle of Cred on his bedside table. That's a funny little callback and reference. And maybe one of the craziest shots of the trailer, Moses returns, this time looking even more like the MCP from Tron than ever before. Moses first appeared in Jubilee from the Meteor Shower trilogy, which I coincidentally just did a video about. Check it out, plug, plug, plug. He later appeared in the now banned episodes Super Best Friends and 200/201. I am very curious what role he's going to play here. In Jubilee, the focus on Moses was very centered on the Jewish faith, in the weird, bizarre, sci-fi, fantasy Jew Scout storyline they did there. But since then, he's just sort of been one of the members of the Super Best Friends. He's like their supercomputer. I wonder if Moses' involvement here suggests they'll be covering Israel's ongoing decimation of Gaza. Obviously, after Jubilee and Super Best Friends, this would make for a much heavier story than they've ever done involving this Tron-inspired Moses, but that does feel pretty South Park to me. Okay, on to Diddy. We've got two shots in this trailer that are Diddy related. We see Garrison entering a very fancy bathroom that is absolutely covered wall to wall in shit. The platinum record reads P. Diddy, and we see a Grammy among other awards sitting in the bathroom. I think this is likely the aftermath of a Diddy party. Diddy was obviously arrested and charged recently due to some of the things that went on at these infamous parties, and it seems like Diddy is escaping prison somehow in these episodes, mostly because of this shot where he's chasing down the boys and Starvin Marvin with a gun, sporting an orange prison uniform. The uniform says MDC, which is actually a detention center in Brooklyn. But even stranger, this entire sequence seems to be in space over the planet Marklar, which was where we last saw Starvin Marvin back in season 3, 25 years ago. Marklar is of course home to the Marklars, who of course refer to everything as Marklar.
Here on Marklar, everyone and everything is referred to as Marklar.
Doesn't that get confusing?
We can actually even see a dead Marklar down here on the Marklar. Cannot say I expected or guessed that we'd get the return of Starvin Marvin, and I have no idea why we've got Diddy in space, but people have been begging South Park to cover Diddy since he was arrested and the revelation of the things that happen at these Diddy parties. Diddy was previously seen in the episode Douche First Turd, back when he was known as Puff Daddy, and he was running his Vote or Die campaign.
Vote or die? What the hell does that even mean?
What you think it means, bitch.
Personally, I'm really looking forward to Diddy being completely torn apart by South Park. People have been waiting for it, and it looks like they're making him out to be a real villain just from this single shot of him. The Diddy parties are also likely something South Park will have a field day depicting, if that shit-covered bathroom is any indication. But I'm almost equally excited for this random return of Marvin, a character who showed up twice in the first 3 seasons, and I never expected to see ever again. I think South Park is the most fun when it strikes a balance between its modern pop culture / celebrity lambasting and these out there silly storylines, especially when they reach back deep into the history and lore of the show. With the boys zipping through space on these orb ship things, I also wonder if we'll see any of the other aliens that have been showcased on the show, like in the episode Cancelled or Pinewood Derby, or of course the classic gray aliens that have been across the series entirely. Also needs to be stated that Garrison is shown as his usual character model, not the Trump model from Trump's first term, which is very interesting. And with the whole Canadian tariff storyline seemingly being a part of this, I'm curious how they're going to get around the Garrison Trump thing. Will they have an actual Trump character come in so they can keep using Garrison as normal? Will they somehow split the Garrison and Trump personalities into separate entities? I don't think it's something they can just fully ignore, even though they claimed they were completely over Trump as a subject on South Park, which of course didn't piss anybody off. But this is a wild trailer, and it's incredibly unusual because it's only April and they're showing tons of footage for a premiere that's happening in July. South Park famously preps their episodes in just like the few weeks leading up to a premiere, and I think there's a pretty clear explanation for why they have so much footage prepped already, alongside the fact that this is a new season and not a new special. We had been anticipating 2 South Park specials per year for at least 3 more years due to their big Paramount Plus contract, but last year we actually only got 1 special. The last thing we heard about new South Park was from Matt Stone in an interview with Bloomberg in late 2024.
South Park, beginning of next year, we're coming back with 1 episode and then a bunch more in the second half of 2025.
So as late as November 2024, Stone was anticipating a special in early 2025 and then a new season in the back half of the year. However, the big lawsuit over South Park has seemingly not gone South Park or Paramount's way, and it seems like the result might be the death of these South Park specials. However, they have so much footage of this new season done so far in advance. I think pretty much everything we're seeing in this trailer almost certainly was from a special that was supposed to release in early 2025, like Matt Stone said, but never did because Paramount is still figuring their shit out. But that begs the question, if this footage is from a special, how will it be broken up and aired? Will they air the special as is, just as an extra long episode for the season 27 premiere? Will the special be split into 2 episodes and aired over 2 weeks like the South Park of old? We haven't gotten a traditional 2-part episode since the return of Man Bear Pig in season 22. I expect that they will likely split the special into at least 2 episodes and are now going to be airing them in a linear season starting in July. The first summer South Park season in over a decade. Crazy. But honestly, with how many different storylines are featured in this trailer, it does kind of feel like there's a lot for just one special, though they do tend to jam a lot into those specials. I also think it's possible that this could mean the return of 10-episode seasons if the specials are truly done for. A huge change from the last few years with the 6-episode, 2-special format, even though it's technically the same amount of content. But this really could mean big changes for South Park going forward. But how did you like the trailer for South Park season 27? What do you think about the fact that they have so much completed footage this early in the year? Are we witnessing the end of the South Park specials? Let me know below in the comments. This summer is going to be wildly busy for me with basically every series I cover kind of overlapping at some point, but I'm really excited to cover new South Park again, so stay tuned. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny Two Cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust